Oh, board gaming is too expensive. There's all these campaign games that cost hundreds of dollars. Twilight Imperium is 165 MSRP. Then if you buy the expansion everyone loves so much, that's another 120. So now you're in the whole 285 for getting to enjoy one of Shelfside's favorite games. But what got me thinking is that lately I've read threads about how Twilight Imperium actually isn't that expensive if you break down the cost per play. So I wanted to see how much it really costs for me. Then I realized that I've played other games a lot more. So I want to sit down and find out exactly how much value I was getting out of playing all my board games. And no, this isn't just saying that they're value as a general vibe. I've specifically calculated the cost per play, but I also went further. I used my management consulting training to come up with a formula to whittle down the cost to the most specific metric possible. Cost per minute per player. Yeah, I'm a little insane, but don't worry, I'll still show the cost per play for each game. Oh, I wanted to do the cost per hour for a while, but the numbers were just getting too unwieldy. Minute per player formula. First, take that cost per play value, then look at the average player count I've played with. Lastly, we're gonna divide that by how many minutes that game on average runs to find out the true cost per player per minute. So theoretically, if I were to start charging my friends money like a taxi driver, like literally charge them per minute playing my game, I now have a formula to figure out how much I would charge. This formula is just really for fun, but it does put the cost of well-worn games into perspective. Of course, number one on this list is by no means my favorite game of all time. So what I'll do in this top 10 list is explain every game a little bit and why I think I've derived so much value from it, and then we'll have our final thoughts at the end. Number 10, Star Wars Rebellion. It's long, it's epic, and it's this thematic clash of the rebels versus the Empire. And I found the more I play this game, the more I like it. It's quite unwieldy to teach and play, but man, its spin on worker placement by assigning leaders to missions and how the rebels have to worry about hiding their base from the Empire is such a tense game of cat and mouse. I frequently find myself thinking, what if for future rebel fleet plays in surprising that disgusting evil Empire? MSRP is $110. I played it 6 times. So that's $18.33 per session. I played it with 2 players for 5 of the 6 sessions, so I'll just say 2 players. So it's about $9 per player per session. Great. But now here we go. This is a long game. So it's on average 4 hours. We're left with $0.38 per player per minute. That is 3 cents per player per minute. Not bad. 9. Throw Burrito, a spoons meets dodgeball party game that's been a blast with pretty much every single party group I've played with. Talking about it makes me want to play it again, seeing how multiplayer real-time dexterity is so easy to start and go. Always a blast, great to shake things up for non-board gamers or board gamers alike. It doesn't really feel like a standard tabletop game in many senses, especially since half of it isn't involving a table at all. It just really scales off of where you play it at. MSRP, $25. Played it 10 times, so that's $2.50 per session. It's played 4 to 6 players, so let's say on average 5 players. So it's 50 cents per player per session. It being 15 minutes means it's also 3 cents per minute. See, math can be fun. Number 8, Incan Gold. This one's just so easy to teach. It's basically just a game of chicken. A big reason why we keep returning is how simple and satisfying the interaction is of pulling out or not pulling out. And then there's always the possibility of the insanely high moments of when everyone has pulled out except for one person, and that person's just flipping cards like a maniac to see if they'll overcome all odds and get a huge payout, or lose to the odds. Yeah, it's like multiplayer gambling, and that's fun. You guys already know the formula, so I'm just gonna breeze through this now. Incan Gold was $1 per game for me owning it, and 1 cent per minute per player. Number 7, Twilight Imperium 4, Prophecy of Kings. So, okay, I'm just calculating the expansion here that is playing TI4 with the expansion included. Kind of cheating, but I think it's a fair way to measure it. There's just been so many good memories with this box, and at some point I played it with 7 players, so that's even more bang for buck. Okay, technically we didn't finish that game, but that did take time. It was time enjoyed playing the game. Anyways, we have a lot more upcoming Twilight Imperium videos, so now let's get into the formula. For my cost as the owner per game, it's $15.71 per game for me. But it's a long game with usually 6 players, and we've been playing a lot of 3 and 4P recently, so I'll just mark it as 5 players. So it ended up being 0.8 cents per minute per player, that is 80% of a penny. Number 6, Twilight Imperium 4, base game. Now, even if Prophecy of Kings didn't exist, I would still be immensely satisfied with this game, and I've played it 10 times already. This is like many years ago. I played this game 10 times. And we'll just snap ahead through these calculations here, all these fun sci-fi moments, and that was $0.007 per player per minute. That is 70% of a penny. Number 5, Dominion. I used to play this so much in high school and college when I realized that you could deck build within a game itself, and that just blew my mind. It was so easy to just set up new games, and we were almost always playing it at 4 players, so that's what I'm using for my math. It is 80 cents per play for me, and with more calculations, to find out player per minute, that is 66% of a penny per player per minute. Number 4, this is when the numbers started getting pretty staggering for me. So I've played this game 75 times which is the Resistance. I mean, look at all these well-worn components. I've even had to make up a certain token for the voting track because we lost pieces. And then the game still worked fine. We enjoyed it a lot. Now I don't play this game anymore, but it was the de facto multiplayer game for a long time. It is 33 cents for each of my plays, incredible value. Then of course it's a party game with more people to split the cost, so it's $0.0033 per player per minute. That is 33% of a penny per player per minute. Now before we get to the top 3, we got a quick message. This video is brought to you by Grounding, the publisher of Machikoro and Machikoro with Everyone. This is a digital version of the board game that has Machikoro both 1 and 2, and with remote play, you can play with up to 3 friends that don't own a copy. I've never played Machikoro before, and this tutorial got me up to speed in no time at all, with fantastic animations and those cute sound effects. I did it. I rolled the die. And the interface does the bookkeeping fantastically, because I imagine that managing the coin output every turn IRL with all the building interactions gets a bit messy. But yeah, definitely felt the strategy already in choosing when to shift between the single and double die as I try to get combos by collecting certain sets. Getting those big piles of coins with the die rolls you planned for just felt good. So check it out in the description below for the Steam Summer Sale. Now, back to the video. 3, the big value games. Taboo. This one is so cheap at $15 MSRP, and it was played very regularly in our family growing up, and I've still played it fairly recently too. It's just easy to take out, easy to teach, easy to play. So I'm just gonna guess and say about 70 plays for me, which is 21.4 cents per session. Okay, that isn't insanely cheap, but split amongst 4 players, it's only 5.35 cents per session per player, divided by a 20-minute game, and that's 0.267 cents per player per minute. That is a quarter of a cent per player per minute. Number 2. This one's not very well known, so it's gonna take some people by surprise, but I played it recently and had a great time, and so this one is SanGuoSha, that is the Killers of the Three Kingdoms, or literally Three Kingdoms Kill. It is actually just the bang mechanics with the Romance of the Three Kingdoms skin with way more abilities. And this was the go-to game for a solid stretch in senior year of high school. In fact, I've played it about 120 times. I'm not gonna add the 2 plays from recently because that wasn't with my copy. Gotta stay true to my rules here. So for me, it's been about 28.6 cents per play session. For everyone, taking an average of 6 people playing, which we found to be the best player count, and at a 40-minute game, it's about 1/10 of a cent per player per minute. Now this game isn't the most balanced, and it has some clear player elimination issues. That is, you can die early and just wait around for maybe an hour. But something about the asymmetry of character abilities and how it meshes with the hidden roles of King versus Deputy versus Rebel versus Renegade was just so satisfying. You felt like characters could be used for different roles in all unique ways. Like I still remember pretending to be the king's minister or deputy as the speech man because this guy could heal the king. So I'd always tell the king, yeah, I got you, don't worry, I got a peach for you if you're in duress. And then when he was about to die and he asked for me to heal him, I said, nope, you're not getting the heal. So he died. I won the game as the rebel. I was trying to kill him the whole time. I should buy an English version of this. My version's in Chinese, and we still made it work with a lot of people not understanding how to read Mandarin characters. Yeah, this game is pretty bootleg, and I'm not even sure what copy is good now, but yeah, I should buy an English copy. What could be cheaper than 1/10 of a percent per player per minute? And this upcoming game is my go-to recommendation for any single person that is okay with a little bit of scheming and bluffing in their games, and that is Coup. This game just blows other games out of the water when it comes to price efficiency. I can just feel my ancestors just nodding their heads as I talk about how much money I'm saving playing this game. So Coup is a $10 game, and I've played it about, maybe this is undershooting it, but I've played it about 200 times. I'm not even kidding. We used to meet up and just play this game for the whole entire night. Okay, let's see what the whiteboard has to say about this one. So it's already at, for ownership, 5 cents per play. Then on average playing it at 4 players, then each plays 15 minutes. So it is $0.000833 per player per minute, or 8% of a cent. We went from Star Wars Rebellion being 3 cents per minute per player, and now we are at 8% of a cent. Okay, so now obligatory discussion about Coup. There was just something so addicting about how people would bluff the 2 cards in front of them. Setup was incredibly easy, and there was enough cutthroatness and politicking to feel competitive. The designers definitely just stewed up some magic here with the 5 different characters. It definitely is still a 10 out of 10 recommender score from me. It's just that good of a game. Personally, it would be a 7 out of 10 because I just played it so many times. I always like it when playing, but I pretty much would only play it with people that haven't played Coup before. Final thoughts. No, this is not a troll video, but I realized with all the crazy fractions of pennies, it actually felt quite absurd while listening to this back and editing it. Yeah, really getting there. So meticulous about the penny pinching and calculating these costs starts to get really weird when thinking about it more than a couple seconds. Like sure, the upfront cost makes sense in buying a game and general replayability, but then you start thinking about, well, don't games take a different amount of time to enjoy? How is it even fair to compare a party game to something like TI4? Like I could play 4 party games at the same time I played a fraction of Twilight Imperium, but which game am I leaving feeling more satisfied? It's why some of my best board gaming memories have come from price inefficient Fantasy Flight games like Mansions of Madness and Battlestar Galactica. But I never regretted buying these games, and by playing through all the content, they actually were not that expensive price per play, or price per player per minute. I also realized I kept saying my go-to high school game, and that's because in high school we didn't have a lot of games, and as such we really cared about bang for buck, while we worked minimum wage jobs. And we just had so much more time to hang out together. We often needed games that we could easily teach fellow students, hence why party games have been jumped up in plays. As the years go on and Shelfside matures, I suspect that Twilight Imperium 4 will jump up, possibly to the top of this list, and then other heavy games like Civilization might climb onto this list. Of course, this is using my cost per player per minute formula. If it's value per play, I don't think we're beating Coup. These heavy games just seem to live rent-free in my head and are as such events I feel like they're worth planning for. But party games on the other hand are easy to substitute. I definitely misplayed a little bit, but it's still manageable. This list also gives some insight into our review process and why we tend to value replayability more. But I do understand that this is a bit of a tricky discussion when many people, likely older than us with more disposable income, are okay with the one and done approach to some games, especially if the game didn't click during that first play. Because really, time is the greatest currency. But in high school and college, replayability felt like it was king in board gaming. This hobby can be as cheap or as inexpensive as you really want it to be. You could play on a Wormwood table that is 10 grand, or you can play on park benches outside. Heck, I know I'm only talking about MSRP to make this discussion fair, but I bought HeroQuest at a garage sale for $5. I've gotten dozens of hours of enjoyment out of just the first scenario. Anyways, of course, overthinking value isn't really healthy, but there is some value to be derived out of me saying I got value from games. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to think about my crazy formula, and maybe I could see some calculations below, or people just talking about, whoa, what the heck is this game? SanGuoSha. Thank you to our patrons for making videos like this possible, and as always, yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you to our Mad Lads of Cardboard. Okay, bye-bye.